to recording the show. There's been some news. We're not too sure of what's happening, but obviously want to share where we are. You know, being an opinion-based show, we want to provide as much information as possible, but we want to also talk about what's going on. So,
Opinion? We spew facts.
Facts.
We a fact-based show, ain't we? Holla.
Yes.
right.
Absolutely.
Somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle.
All right. So, Brett, you want to take us through what's happening?
So I have a question for Brett.
What's happening? What are we talking about?
So
What's that
Noah
happening?
Gragson was suspended Sunday morning or Saturday morning.
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't
something like
remember.
that.
This
One of them-
weekend.
one of them days.
He was suspended originally by his race team, Legacy Motor Club, then followed that up with getting suspended from NASCAR indefinitely. Now, today, we see reports from Jordan Bianchi that Noah and Legacy Motorsports have parted ways. Mike Rockenfeller is going to be in the car for the next 2 weeks. Then that was countered with Jim Utter saying that, they have not confirmed that Noah's out of the car. So it's going back and forth of Noah's out, Noah's not out. Brett, I know you have written many driver contracts in your day. Take us through the steps. If Legacy Motor Club wanted to fire Noah Gragson, what kind of steps do they? Obviously, we're talking about here the reasoning behind this is probably if they were to fire him, or just the fact that they suspended him is probably due to some kind of morality clause in his contract. Correct?
Yeah, so they got to have grounds to suspend him, right? And those grounds have to exist within his contract. So if he is suspended for liking a certain social media post, which we know is the case, then that is absolutely true. He has, in their opinion, done something that breaches the morality clause in his contract, which reads something along the lines of he cannot represent the team and or its sponsors in a negative light. Clearly what he did on social media, they are saying that is the case. Now, there's two ways that they can fire him. One of them is also along the morality clause route. And look, man, morality clauses are weird. It may specifically say you cannot get a DUI. It may say you cannot have a child out of wedlock, and back in the day, those things were in there. Or it can be very, very vague, right? I would imagine that this particular – listen, you guys work for teams. How many times have you had to sign a social media clause agreement? Yeah. I've had to sign them. And I promise you there's now, terminology in these driver contracts that operates around those same lines. But there's also a clause in there that I've not seen Noah's contract, but there are clauses in existing driver contracts that if you miss a certain amount of races, no matter why, that they also can terminate the contract. It doesn't mean they have to terminate it, but if you're Chase Elliott and you miss 6 weeks because you broke your leg, the team owns the right to terminate your contract because you're not able to show up for work. It doesn't matter why. The fact of the matter is you're not showing up for work. We can fire you. It doesn't mean they will. So obviously we know now he's out of the car for at least 3 weeks. He was suspended for Michigan, and then now you've got the next 2 coming up with this road course guy, right? So it's a very sticky situation. But when you look at a driver, and I said this to a media member this morning, you guys see a driver, right? I see a driver, a fan club manager, a business manager, a PR person, a pilot, a bus driver. I could keep going, an accountant. There's a lot of people that it takes to support a guy when he makes it to the Cup Series. It's just the way it is. Look at Denny Hamlin. He has a social media manager that follows him around everywhere, right? So when you guys look at a driver, and people are on complete polar opposite sides of this argument, he shouldn't be suspended or fired, and he should be suspended or fired. There's not really a lot of middle ground with our fan base on this particular topic, right? But for me, it's very unfortunate for Noah. On a personal side, I don't know of a driver that makes more time for fans than what he does. On a professional side, he's a hell of a race car driver. Did he make a mistake? Absolutely, he made a mistake. Can he come back from that mistake? I hope he can, because I don't think the mistake warrants losing your entire career over. But you have to realize when you have a boss, and there's multiple bosses over there. Richard Petty's name is tied to this thing. Jimmy Johnson's name is tied to this thing. Maury's name is tied to this thing. Chevrolet's name is tied to this. All the different sponsors that are there. It only takes a couple people to raise their hand at the table and say, he doesn't belong here, and he's out. I personally think there's more to this story than what we know. I personally think there's more motivation to this story than what we know. But if he's out, They will have grounds, contractually in their mind to do that. But when you see, Jordan report that he's out, and you say Utter report that he's not, well, they can't confirm that he's out until the paperwork has been drawn up, the paperwork has been executed, and the paperwork has been delivered to Noah Gragson. Yeah. And if he's out, clearly that hasn't happened as of 1:00 on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think that I think the end of this story is Noah Gragson's going to be out at Legacy Motor Club. That's just obviously we're going off of reporting that's going on. Obviously, rumors flying around everywhere.
Listen, how many times has Jordan been wrong?
Not often. And Jordan can't be wrong. I mean, not in something like this when you're talking about contractual stuff, and there's a lot of people that could come after Jordan. But listen, I got to be honest. We've been hearing rumors for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe more, that Noah was going to be out anyway because there's a possible Toyota Xfinity driver that's lighting the world on fire. And by the way, this team's going to Toyota next year that may be taking that seat no matter what, just based on the performance that this 42 cars had this year. And
Martin Truex coming back made that more likely.
Yes, yeah. When you hear that, I was literally reading an article from somebody and in the car, and it's talking about Martin Truex may or may not come back, but they have time to make a decision on that because you have a guy like, we could name him John Hunter's waiting in the wings. He's up to whatever it is, 4 or 5 Xfinity wins this year, probably the favorite to win the championship, had a stellar year last year. He's sitting there, so Martin can take his time with this decision because here's your guy. Either he goes into 19 or he doesn't, Now, Martin comes back to 19. You're looking for a home for John Hunter. Is he going to go back to Xfinity, or you're going to have this second opportunity at Toyota maybe, to be a teammate to Eric Jones? So we've been hearing those rumors for a couple weeks now, and then to your point, this is possibly a way out for Legacy. I don't know, obviously, what Noah's contract looks like, but if you're looking for a way to get rid of a guy because you want to bring this other guy in, he might have handed it to you on a silver platter when he makes this mistake. And it's unfortunate because, like you said, I've known Noah for a while. I consider him a friend as well. We've been harsh on him on this show. He came on here and kind of, took the brunt of that and had some fun with us. So I really hope the best for him. But, sometimes, you got to learn from mistakes, and this is going to be a hard one for him to learn from.
We all three agree. I don't want to speak for TJ because he got nodded yet. This is a mistake on his part.
100%.
Should it be a career-ending mistake? Not in my mind. He's 25 years old. I hope he was being reckless on social media and wasn't really realizing what he was liking. But nonetheless, this is a big enough mistake to where Legacy. Listen, do I think Noah Gragson should be suspended by Legacy Motor Club? I don't know because I don't know everything that they know. But they did what's best for their company. Did I think NASCAR should hang the word indefinitely on the statement of we're suspending Noah Gragson indefinitely? I hated the word indefinitely because to me, all that he needs to do is go through sensitivity training, get reinstated. How long is that process? Because that's how long he should have been suspended. He's suspended 3 weeks or whenever he undergoes sensitivity. The word indefinitely, I was like, man, that's an awful big word for this particular offense. But should he be suspended to start with? That's totally up to Legacy. And obviously they thought it did, TJ.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation. I don't know if there's I think Legacy's doing it, handling it how they should. It's just a tough situation. Hopefully it can, it sounds like, I agree with Freddie. I think they end up moving with the rumors that are all going around. I think they end up moving on.
People need to realize Legacy didn't ask to be put in this situation.
No.
Noah put them in this situation.
Yeah, for sure.
And listen, on the Noah side of things, what the thing that's going to determine where Noah goes from here is his sponsors, because he has a line of sponsors that travels with him, from JRM. They went over, and some of them came with him to Legacy. If those sponsors stand behind Noah and still continue to support him, he's going to have a home somewhere. He's going to have enough money to bring to teams that make him an attractive piece, because to your point, he's still a very talented race car driver. He made a mistake. We've seen this not that long ago with a guy that came back and won a championship. Not that I'm comparing skill levels of Noah Gragson and Kyle Larson. Kyle made a mistake. He did the best he could to rectify that mistake and came back stronger. And that's what Noah's got to kind of baseline off of and go with there and just hope that his sponsors kind of rally behind him.
I don't think there's a cup ride for him, though.
I'm not saying right now, but there's something. This can't be the end of his career. It would be, But listen, to that point, if these sponsors back away and they say, "Hey, we don't want any part of this either," there's a good chance you don't see him again. You know, and it's as hard as that is to hear or say, like, that's the business of this sport. Kyle Larson can come back. Kyle Larson took that year off and went and won 3,000 dirt races and made himself so attractive that you couldn't pass up on him. This Noah, Noah's going to have some money behind him to get any kind of opportunity, I think.
I just don't. I mean, when I look at Justin Haley leaving Colleague Racing and going to, Rick Ware Racing, okay, that move, you're like, man, why? Well, where else is he going to go? When you look at the series in general right now, there are 2 cars that are open that we think are good cars, the 31 and the 10. Well, Noah ain't getting either one of those.
What about Xfinity?
Xfinity, there's tons of opportunity, and the seats, the musical chairs hadn't started yet.
He's proved
but I
himself.
promise you, there's not a Cup driver in the Cup garage that wakes up in the morning saying, I want to go be an Xfinity driver again.